Welcome, dear dreamer, to Sleep Stories. I'm Aurora, and you are now stepping into a world where dreams and shadows mingle. A soft hush fills the air as the tall gates of the Infinity Castle stretch before you, endless and mysterious. Lanterns flicker faintly along the polished corridors, their light painting the walls in gentle shifting patterns. Here, you are safe. The castle's vastness may seem intimidating, but within its endless halls, calmness drifts like a soft breeze. And somewhere within the castle, a gentle reminder flickers like a small flame. If this journey feels like magic, make sure to fire breathe on the subscribe button and slash across the like button lets the warmth ripple outward, just like the glowing petals drifting through the Infinity Castle. Tanjiro's footsteps echo softly as he leads the way. It's quiet, he murmurs, glancing at the long hallway ahead. Too quiet, maybe, but there's something beautiful about it, don't you think? Nezuko walks beside him, her small hand brushing against the glowing wall. It ripples softly, responding to her touch with faint glimmers of light. She tilts her head, a soft humming sound escaping her lips, the melody carrying warmth through the hall. Zenitsu fidgets behind them, shifting from foot to foot. I don't like it. These shadows look like they might move, he whispers, though his voice lacks the edge of fear. But maybe they won't. Inosuke bounds ahead briefly, then pauses, sniffing the air. Huh, smells like a garden. But there's no garden here, he mutters, peering curiously at the long corridor. His ball mask tilts slightly as he notices a faint shimmer on the polished floor. Weird. The walls themselves seem to breathe, subtly expanding and contracting, giving the illusion of life. Tanjiro kneels near a reflection in the floor, pointing to the faint shapes forming in the polished surface. See that? Petals, floating across the water that isn't really there. The castle's showing us something. A gentle, almost imperceptible hum travels through the halls. It's not threatening, just present, like the sigh of wind through distant trees. Shadows stretch along the walls, flickering in forms that could be monsters, could be memories. Yet as each figure draws closer, it dissipates into a ripple of golden light, as if inviting curiosity instead of fear. Inosuke steps carefully on the smooth floor, his usual boisterous energy tempered. Ha! They vanish when I try to catch them. He giggles quietly, the sound echoing warmly rather than harshly. These halls are tricky, but fun. Zenitsu crouches low, watching a shadow flicker past. It transforms into a drifting lantern, floating silently upward, casting soft light that dances across the ceiling. Maybe it's not dangerous after all, he murmurs, voice softer, more reflective. Nezuko reaches out to a lantern. The moment her fingers grace it, it glows brighter, filling the hallway with warmth. See? Tanjiro smiles gently. Even here there's light. Even in shadows there's peace. Far off, the echo of a faint laughter drifts, carried on the soft hum of the castle. The sound is distant yet comforting, as if the walls themselves are sharing memories of joy long past. Tanjiro walks slowly, listening, noting how the echo mingles with the faint trickle of water from an unseen stream somewhere beyond the hall. I think the castle, it wants us to notice the small things, he says quietly, the beauty hidden in what might first seem frightening. A subtle tension passes through the corridor. Shadows gather, forming indistinct shapes, long arms stretching toward the group. Inosuke stiffens for a moment, ready to charge, but Tanjiro raises a hand, calm and steady. The shapes twist and twist again, transforming into floating petals that swirl around them in soft spirals. Zenitsu lets out a small laugh, relieved. So, battles can be beautiful, huh? Even battles can teach you to notice the quiet, Tanjiro responds. Nezuko hums in agreement, her presence a gentle reassurance to all. Inosuke spins in a small circle, watching petals drift past, fascination softening his usual intensity. The castle seems alive, shifting with every step. A hallway bends gently, revealing a hidden alcove with a pool of water reflecting the sky above. A sky that isn't outside at all, but a mirror of distant stars. Tanjiro kneels beside the pool, tracing the water's edge. It's like a dream captured in stillness. Nezuko sits beside him, the two of them sharing a quiet moment in the vast living space. Zenitsu leans against a wall, eyes half-lidded, as if the gentle hum of the castle is urging him toward rest. I could maybe nap here for a while, he murmurs. Inosuke plops down beside him, muttering, Me too. This place is kind of nice. Even amidst subtle whispers of shadows, there is a strange calm. The castle bends and twists, creating corridors that seem endless but welcoming. Lanterns sway gently, petals drift like soft snow, and the distant hum of water continues, steady and soothing. The tension of the unknown is softened by the presence of friends and shared curiosity. Far ahead, a deeper shadow flickers, long dark, almost like a figure standing just beyond reach. Tanjiro pauses, tilting his head. It's watching, I think, he says softly, careful not to alarm anyone. But it doesn't want to fight. It's curious, like us. The figure shifts slightly, then dissolves into a cascade of tiny lights, scattering across the walls like stars spilling into the hall. Nezuko tilts her head, smiling faintly at the beauty. Zenitsu exhales a long, soft breath, tension leaving his shoulders. See? Even the scary things can be gentle, he whispers. As the group moves further into the corridor, the hall begins to stretch and bend like soft silk. The walls curve into arches. Reflections shimmer in pools, and the soft glow of lanterns illuminates subtle shapes. Flowers, birds, and small fantastical creatures that vanish if approached too quickly. Inosuke bounds forward gently, careful not to disturb the ephemeral forms, and Tanjiro points out each detail with quiet wonder. The castle, it changes for us, for our curiosity. The distant hum of the Infinity Castle seems to grow, as if responding to their calm presence. The shadows retreat further into corners, petals drift higher into the air, and the faint breeze carries the scent of unseen blooms. Even Zenitsu, often jumpy, relaxes fully, his gaze lingering on the lanterns above. This isn't so bad, he murmurs. I like it here. Nezuko touches a wall again, soft ripples cascading outward, and Tanjiro smiles. Maybe this is a place to rest, even in a castle built for battles. Even here, there's room for calm. Inosuke spins once more, catching a petal on the tip of his boar mask, then lets it float away. Not so bad at all, he agrees, his voice lighter than usual. The hallway stretches on, endless yet embracing, each step carrying them deeper into the heart of a castle that is at once strange, mysterious, and tenderly alive. The shadows settle, the hum becomes a lullaby, and the friends continue onward, each step a quiet rhythm, carrying them through the castle's endless halls. For now, there are no dangers, no alarms, only the subtle magic of light, water, and shared presence, where curiosity and calm coexist, and where even the Infinity Castle feels like a place to breathe softly, rest, and wander gently. The corridors slowly begin to curve and stretch, and the polished floors give way to soft moss and tiny luminous flowers. The faint hum of the castle continues, now mingling with the gentle trickle of water. A subtle warmth fills the air, like sunlight spilling across a distant, hidden garden. The infinity castle seems to sigh in welcome, its shifting halls transforming into a serene landscape suspended between reality and dream. Tanjiro kneels to touch a small patch of flowers glowing softly in the dim light. "Look at these," he whispers, voice carrying awe rather than surprise. "They almost hum when you brush past them." The petals quiver as his fingers glide over them, scattering tiny motes of light that drift lazily upward. Each flicker seems alive, responding to gentle curiosity rather than command. Nezuko steps carefully along a narrow path, her gaze fixed on a soft stream, winding lazily through the garden. Tiny ripples reflect the subtle colors of floating lanterns, casting a kaleidoscope of light across the mossy ground. She kneels to dip her fingers into the water, and it shimmers with a soft, golden glow. Tanjiro smiles beside her. Even in a place built for battles, beauty finds its way. Zenitsu crouches near the stream, peering at tiny creatures dancing just above the water's surface. I've never seen anything like this," he whispers, eyes wide, body relaxed. His usual tension is softened by the gentle sway of glowing plants and drifting petals. It's peaceful. Inosuke leaps lightly across the moss, landing with barely a sound. Ha! These stepping stones feel different. Soft, almost like clouds. He crouches near a small alcove, watching his shadows flicker among the petals. But when he reaches out, they melt into glittering motes of light, harmless and delicate. Ha! Nothing to fight here. Just magic. The garden shifts subtly, corridors stretching and bending like soft waves. Lanterns float above, following the winding paths, their glow gentle yet illuminating every delicate detail. Tiny birds, real or imagined, flutter along the branches of glowing trees, their faint chirps mingling with the constant hum of the castle. Even the shadows move differently here, more like drifting fog than threats. A soft ripple flows across the garden as a faint shadow forms near the stream. A dark shape, long and twisting, like a vine made of smoke. Inosuke stiffens, ready to charge, but Tanjiro raises a hand calmly. The shadow flows closer, then twists again, unraveling into a cascade of golden petals that drift across the water. Zenitsu exhales softly, relief washing over him. "Even the scary things can be gentle," he murmurs, voice quiet, almost hypnotic. Nezuko touches a patch of moss, and it responds with a faint glow, tiny flowers opening where her fingers grace. The group moves slowly, exploring the shifting garden. Tanjiro kneels beside a small pool, watching the ripples dance across the surface. Everything here feels alive, but peaceful. Not everything that moves has to threaten us. The path curves again, leading to a gentle slope where sunlight, warm, soft and golden, filters through openings in the castle ceiling. Tiny waterfalls cascade from hidden ledges, forming misty veils that hang in the air like soft curtains. Nezuko steps into the mist, her presence scattering faint motes of light. Inosuke bounds through, laughing quietly as drumlets catch on his ball mask, glimmering like tiny stars. Zenitsu sits on a moss-covered rock, letting the gentle sound of water soothe him. "It's so calm here. I can almost feel sleep pulling me in," he says, voice heavy-lidded, mesmerized by the slow swirl of petals floating in the air. Tanjiro kneels beside him, smiling softly. Even in a place made for battles, we can find spaces like this. Spaces where we just breathe. He gestures toward the glowing flowers, the softly rippling pools, the floating lanterns swaying gently above. The castle wants us to notice these moments. A subtle tension drifts across the garden, a slight shift in the air, a faint ripple across the stream. Shadows flicker at the edges of the mossy path, forming twisted shapes of warriors long gone. Inosuke crouches, ready to spring, but Tanjiro steps forward. The shadows twist, then dissolve into glimmering fragments that float like fireflies, scattering across the garden in soft arcs of light. Nezuko smiles faintly, and even Zenitsu lets out a soft chuckle. Battles can be beautiful, huh? The friends continue through the garden, the path weaving gently between streams, flowers, and softly glowing lanterns. Tanjiro notices small birds perched among the glowing branches, their wings scattering faint sparks of light. Everything here responds to care, he murmurs. Even the castle itself seems alive in a way that's kind. Nezuko kneels beside a pool, gazing at the reflection of the floating lanterns. The water ripples softly, scattering petals across the surface. Inosuke crouches to touch the moss, watching it glow in response to his fingers. Zenitsu leans back, eyes half-lidded, letting the gentle sounds of water and humming flowers lull him into calm. The shadows in the garden are distant now, no longer twisting threateningly. They drift in and out of the soft glow of lanterns, transforming into gentle ripples on the water, floating petals, and tiny glimmers in the trees. Even the faintest threat of danger has softened into curiosity, into something that invites rather than alarms. A small alcove opens up ahead, bathed in golden sunlight. The friends pause, taking in the beauty of the scene. A gentle waterfall spilling into a crystal-clear pool, glowing flowers scattered along its edges, and lanterns drifting lazily above. Tanjiro steps forward, kneeling at the pool's edge. Even in a place made for battles, there are moments of calm, moments to rest, moments to just exist. Inosuke plops down beside him, still marveling at the glowing moss and petals drifting in the air. Not so bad at all, he mutters, voice soft and content. Zenitsu leans against a tree, letting the gentle hum of the castle lull him further towards sleep. Nezuko sits beside Tanjiro, quietly observing, the small warmth of her presence wrapping around them like a soft blanket. The garden stretches endlessly, the path winding gently forward, each step revealing new streams of light, soft petals, and glowing lanterns. Shadows flicker occasionally, only to dissolve into shimmering beauty. Even the castle itself seems to breathe in response, welcoming calm and gentle curiosity. As the friends continue through the shifting garden, a subtle glow catches Inosuke's eye. Tiny particles of light swirl and dance above a small flower patch, spinning slowly like fireflies in the night. He laughs quietly, nudging Zenitsu. See that? Even the strange things here. They're beautiful. Zenitsu watches, half asleep, and whispers, yes, everything's soft, peaceful. And somewhere, deep within the hum of the Infinity Castle, a faint reminder lingers in the gentle shimmer of floating lanterns. If this journey feels like magic, a soft press of fire breathing on the subscribe button can carry the light forward, and a slash across the like button lets the warmth ripple outward, just like the glowing petals drifting through the garden. The shadows settle, the streams hum softly, and the friends continue their gentle exploration. Here, even in a castle built for battles, there is room for calm, for quiet discovery, and for moments that carry the heart toward rest. The Infinity Castle bends and shifts, endlessly welcoming, endlessly alive, softly guiding them deeper into the dreamlike serenity of the shifting gardens. The shifting gardens slowly fade behind them, replaced by a long, echoing hallway lined with hundreds of softly glowing lanterns. Each lantern seems to pulse gently, carrying the faintest memory of laughter, courage, or quiet reflection from the Hashira who once walked these halls. The air is warm, scented faintly of blossoms, and the soft hum of the castle continues like a lullaby. Tanjiro steps carefully between the lanterns, his fingers brushing against one. It glows brighter for a moment, sending ripples of golden light across the walls. Each one tells a story, he whispers. Not battles, but moments. Moments of kindness, of care, of hope. Nezuko trails beside him. Eyes wide as small motes of light drift around her, swirling gently before fading into the air. She reaches out to a floating lantern, and it tilts toward her as if bowing in greeting. Zenitsu crouches to watch the reflections on the polished floor. His usual nervous energy softened. I could stay here forever, he murmurs, voice drifting in awe. Inosuke bounds ahead briefly, then pauses mid-step, his gaze catching shadows flickering at the edges of the lantern glow. They twist into strange shapes, warriors or demons, at first frightening, but when he moves closer, they dissolve into tiny petals that drift lazily through the hall. Here, even shadows here aren't scary, he mutters, grinning beneath his boar mask. Tanjiro kneels near one lantern, examining its glow. The castle. It reflects how we feel. Calm, gentle hearts. Even here, it responds with beauty. Nezuko sits beside him, letting the warm light wash over her. The soft rippling hum of the castle mingles with the faint sound of flowing water from a hidden stream, somewhere deep within the walls. A subtle movement catches their eyes. A shadow flickers across the hallway, long and twisting, like a hand reaching from the darkness. Inosuke springs forward instinctively, but the shadow stretches, then folds into itself, transforming into a cascade of glowing petals that drift upward, joining the gentle dance of lantern light. Zenitsu exhales, half-lidded and relieved. Even the castle's battles are soft here, he murmurs, voice drifting towards sleep. The friends continue down the lantern-lined corridor, each step slow, deliberate, savoring the warmth of light and quiet. Lanterns sway slightly, as if dancing along with them, casting intricate patterns on the walls. The glow is soft, comforting, like a blanket wrapped around them, in the heart of the castle. Nezuko reaches for another lantern. Its light responds, flickering in gentle waves that reflect off her hair, bathing the hallway in a serene glow. Tanjiro smiles, watching the interaction. Even here, even in a place built for battles, there is room for calm, for reflection, for rest. Above them, the lanterns sway, as if guided by unseen hands, their light blending into a canopy of warmth and gentle reassurance. Shadows linger at the edges, but no longer threaten. They drift in and out of the glow, soft and fleeting, transforming even tension into beauty. A subtle reminder passes through the warmth of the lantern glow. If this journey through light feels comforting, a A soft press of fire breathing on the subscribe button and a slash across the like button spreads warmth, just like the gentle light of the lanterns in the Infinity Castle. The hallway stretches onward, endless, yet embracing. The friends walk together, their footsteps a quiet rhythm, carried forward by the soft hum of light, water, and petals drifting through the air. For now, the world outside disappears, leaving only the calm serenity of the lantern hallway, where shadows and light coexist. And even a castle built for battles can be a place to breathe, reflect, and rest. The lantern hallway gradually fades behind them, giving way to a vast open chamber. The ceiling stretches infinitely, a dome of stars twinkling above, reflected perfectly in the still pool scattered across the floor. The air is soft and warm, carrying a faint scent of blossoms and gentle night air. The Infinity Castle seems to pause here, holding its breath in quiet reverence for this moment. Tanjiro steps forward, kneeling beside one of the glowing pools. The water ripples slightly, reflecting the constellations above in shifting patterns. "It's endless," he whispers, eyes tracing the shimmering stars. Even here, there's so much beauty waiting to be noticed. Nezuko sits quietly beside him, her presence radiating calm. She dips a hand into the water, and the ripples scatter tiny lights across the chamber, floating upward like drifting fireflies. The soft hum of the castle mingles with the faint trickle of hidden streams, creating a lullaby of light, water, and quiet energy. Zenitsu lies back on a gentle patch of moss near the pool, letting the warmth of the atrium and the soft glow of lanterns above carry him toward rest. "It's so peaceful," he murmurs, voice heavy-lidded. "I could stay here forever." Inosuke lies beside him, arms crossed behind his head, eyes reflecting the stars above. This is nice. Even better than fighting shadows. This is calm." He tilts his head, watching the glowing petals drifting lazily in the air. "I never thought a castle could feel like this." Soft shadows drift across the atrium's edges, long shapes twisting faintly. Tanjiro watches carefully, but they do not threaten. Slowly, the shapes unravel into streams of glowing light, joining the floating petals. Nezuko smiles faintly. Even the remnants of conflict here are gentle, transformed into beauty by the serenity of the chamber. The friends move closer to the center of the atrium, where the largest pool reflects the stars above like a mirror of the night sky. Lanterns float lazily above, swaying gently in unseen breezes. The hum of the castle grows softer, a gentle rhythm that carries the heart toward calm. Tanjiro glances at each friend, soft warmth in his eyes. Even in a place built for battles, there's always a corner for peace, for reflection, for rest. Nezuko leans slightly against him, the two of them sharing quiet comfort. Zenitsu's breath deepens, and Inosuke stretches, finally settling into the embrace of the serene chamber. Above, the stars seem to pulse in time with the gentle hum of the castle. Petals and motes of light drift slowly, swirling around the friends in soft spirals. A gentle reminder that even in vast mysterious spaces, calm and warmth can be found. A final shimmer dances across the pools, and the faintest reminder echoes in the light. If this journey through the Infinity Castle feels magical, a soft press of fire breathing on the subscribe button and a slash across the like button lets that light ripple outward, spreading warmth, calm and gentle wonder. The friends settle in the atrium, the vast sky above mirrored in the still waters, lanterns swaying softly, petals drifting lazily in the gentle hum of the infinity castle. Shadows and light coexist in delicate harmony. And here, even in a castle built for battles, there is only peace, rest, and quiet, infinite beauty.